Lying to your parents can be a tricky situation, especially when it comes to African parents who value respect, responsibility, and honesty. However, we've all found ourselves in situations where we need to stretch the truth or keep something from them. So, let's explore how to get away with it, and more importantly, why honesty should still be your go-to strategy, even if it's sometimes tempting to fib. Why we lie to our African parents. Before we get into the how-to, it's important to understand why we lie. African parents, especially from cultures where respect for authority and elders is paramount, often expect their children to behave in a certain way. The pressure to meet academic expectations, uphold the family name, or follow strict cultural values can create situations where telling the truth feels daunting. Whether it's about your grades, a relationship, or your career plans, the fear of disappointing them can lead to white lies or complete fabrications. Common things we lie about to African parents: grades and education. One of the most common topics where lies surface is academic performance. Many African parents expect their children to get top grades and pursue high-status professions like medicine, law, or engineering. As a result, a B might be exaggerated to an A just to avoid being scolded. Relationships. African parents can be quite protective and conservative when it comes to relationships. Talking about a romantic partner or simply mentioning someone you like might seem like an impossible task if they're not the right kind of person, according to your parents. Social life. Sometimes you just want to go out and have fun, but parents may not approve of your choice of friends or the places you visit. So, you might tell them you're going to a study group when, in fact, you're meeting friends for a party. Money. If you're given a certain amount for school or personal expenses, and you spend it on something else, lying about it becomes tempting, especially if you're trying to avoid the inevitable lecture. How to get away with lying. Keep your story straight. If you're going to lie, you have to be consistent. One small detail left out or changed can raise suspicion. For instance, if you're lying about grades, make sure all the numbers line up across all your stories. African parents often ask the same question multiple times, so practice your answers. Use the right timing. Timing is everything. If your parents are in a good mood, they're more likely to believe you. If they're upset or stressed, it's better to hold off and wait for a calmer moment. Catch them after dinner when they're more relaxed, or during family gatherings when they're distracted by others. Appeal to their expectations. African parents are typically proud of their children's accomplishments, even if they can be strict. So, if you do need to fabricate something, make sure it aligns with their high expectations. For example, if you're lying about grades, make sure the grade you claim to have is just above what's realistically expected of you. This way, it's believable. Minimize your interactions. The less your parents ask about something, the less you have to lie about. If you're in college and are trying to hide a party you went to, avoid situations where they'll be curious about the details. Keep conversations light and vague. Body language. Parents know their children better than anyone. They can often sense when you're being dishonest. To get away with lying, make sure you can control your body language. Avoid nervous gestures like fidgeting, making direct eye contact, or avoiding it entirely. And try not to let your voice shake. Signs your African parents can tell when you're lying. Despite your best efforts, African parents are often extremely intuitive. Here's how they can spot a lie. Too much detail. Overloading a story with details often raises suspicions. If you're giving too much unnecessary information to cover your tracks, it could be a sign that you're hiding something. Inconsistencies. African parents have an impressive memory and can often recall conversations or events from years ago. If your story doesn't line up with a previous one, you might get caught. Changes in behavior. They know you better than anyone, so if you're suddenly acting different, more anxious or distant, they might begin to ask more questions. Gut instinct. African parents have a sixth sense when it comes to their children. They can usually tell when something is off, even without specific evidence. The consequences of lying to African parents. While it might seem harmless in the moment, lying to your African parents can have long-term consequences. Trust is a huge part of any relationship, and once it's broken, it can take years to rebuild. The guilt from deceiving them might also weigh heavily on you, and eventually they may find out, which could lead to an even worse situation than if you had told the truth. Additionally, lying can create a cycle of deceit, where you constantly have to maintain your story and avoid the truth, which isn't sustainable. Alternatives to lying: the power of honest conversations. Instead of lying, here are some ways to navigate tricky situations with your African parents. Communicate honestly. While it might be uncomfortable at first, having an open conversation about your struggles or concerns can build trust and understanding. You might not always get the reaction you want, but the respect you gain from being honest will go a long way. Offer solutions. If you know your parents won't be happy with something, present a solution. For instance, if you're failing a class, don't just lie about your grade. Instead, explain what steps you're taking to improve and ask for their support. Find compromise. Sometimes your parents' expectations might feel impossible to meet, but rather than lying to make them happy, find a middle ground. For example, if they want you to be a doctor and you want to pursue music, suggest a degree that combines both, like music therapy. Understand their perspective. African parents often have the best intentions for you. They want you to succeed in life and protect you from failure. Understanding their perspective and fears can help you approach difficult conversations with empathy and patience. The fine line between humor and disrespect. While it can be funny to share stories about lying to our parents or to discuss the lengths we go to avoid their disapproval, it's important to remember that honesty and respect are the foundations of any strong relationship. Lying may seem like a quick fix, but in the long run, being truthful and transparent with our African parents can lead to healthier and more meaningful relationships. After all, they only want the best for you.